Okay, so you know how we like to do these deep dives into, pop culture and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this time we're going to kind of like go back in time a bit to the mid-90s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, back to like October 6th, 1995
Okay.
for a pretty electrifying episode of The X-Files.
Oh, wow. The X-Files. I remember watching that show.
Yeah, it's a classic.
It is.
And the episode is called D.P.O.
D.P.O. Okay.
Yeah, it's the third episode of season 3.
Okay.
So pretty early on.
Yeah.
But this one is, you know how the X-Files has like the big overarching alien mythology?
Right.
And then there's like the Monster of the Week episodes?
Yeah, yeah.
This is one of those Monster of the Week.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a standalone episode.
Mm.
So even if you've never seen the X-Files, this is one you could just watch.
Oh, cool.
And it's really interesting.
Okay.
So in this one, Mulder and Scully go to this small town.
Okay.
And they're investigating this really bizarre string of deaths
Okay.
that are all seemingly caused by lightning strikes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So somebody's controlling the weather or something.
Well, you'll have to wait and see.
Okay. All right.
So let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
So the episode opens in this like really cool retro video arcade.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and there's this kid named Darren Peter Oswald who everybody calls D.P.O.
Okay.
And he's like this kind of awkward, like teenage metalhead.
Okay.
And he's like really good at this game called Virtua Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this pizza delivery guy
Okay.
named Jack Hammond.
Yeah.
And he's there like playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like gets into it with D.P.O. over like, who's better or whatever.
Classic arcade rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this other kid there too named Zero.
Zero.
Yeah, he's like the arcade clerk and he's like D.P.O.'s friend.
Okay.
So Hammond, he leaves the arcade
Mm-hmm.
and he gets into his car.
Okay.
But here's where things get really weird.
Okay.
So as he's driving away, the jukebox inside the arcade starts playing this song. And it's the song called Ring the Bells by James.
Okay.
And as he's driving along, the same song starts playing on his car radio.
That's pretty strange.
Yeah, it's like super eerie.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden his car is engulfed in this huge electrical surge.
What?
Yeah, and it like totally fries him.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so the next morning, Mulder and Scully arrive in Connorville to investigate.
Right.
And they meet with the local coroner, Stan Buxton,
Okay.
and the sheriff, John Teller.
Oh.
And, they're both pretty skeptical.
Right.
Especially about, this whole lightning strike thing.
Yeah, I mean, had you to die from a lightning strike in your car.
Right, and there's no, like, burn marks on the body or anything like that.
Okay.
But Mulder, he starts to notice a pattern. Like, all the victims have been these young men between, like, 17 and 21 years old.
Okay, so there is a pattern there.
Yeah, and it's all been in, like, a really short amount of time.
Huh. So what do they do next?
Well, naturally, they head to the arcade.
Right, the scene of the crime.
Exactly. So Scully, she talks to Zero
Okay.
to see if he can, like, shed any light on what happened.
Right.
While Mulder, he's, like, poking around the arcade.
Mm-hmm.
And he notices that on the Virtua Fighter 2 machine,
Yeah.
the high score is held by someone with the initials D.P.O.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and the timestamps show that he was there when Hammond died.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Right, so they go to find this D.P.O. guy,
Okay.
and it turns out he's Darren Peter Oswald.
Oh, wow, the kid from the beginning.
Yep, and it gets even crazier.
That was...
D.P.O. is the only survivor of a lightning strike like 5 months earlier.
What? So he's been struck by lightning twice and survived both times.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
That is pretty wild.
Right, so Mulder and Scully, they go to question him
Okay.
at the auto shop where he works.
Okay.
And he's like super awkward,
Mhm.
and he seems to have like this weird crush on the owner's wife, Sharon.
Okay.
But while they're talking to him, Mulder's cell phone starts like overheating. Like it's smoking and almost melting in his pocket.
That's strange.
Right, it's like D.P.O. is giving off some kind of electromagnetic energy.
Interesting.
So later that night, Zero goes to visit D.P.O. at his house.
Okay.
And D.P.O., he like takes him out to this field
Mm-hmm.
and he shows him that he can like control lightning.
What, you can actually control lightning?
Yeah, he like summons a bolt of lightning out of the sky.
That's crazy.
and it strikes these cows in the field.
Oh my God.
Zero's like totally freaked out.
I bet.
But D.P.O., he's just like standing there totally fine.
So he's like immune to lightning or something?
Right. It's like he's somehow become like a human lightning rod.
Wow.
So the next day, Mulder and Scully, they go to the field with the sheriff.
Okay.
And they're like looking at the damage.
Mhm.
And the sheriff, he's like convinced that it's just a natural lightning strike.
Of course.
Because there's like these pieces of fulgurite
Fulgurite.
Yeah, it's like this glassy substance that forms when lightning hits sand or rock.
Oh, okay.
But then Mulder, he spots something,
What's that?
a partial footprint near the fulgurite.
What's that about?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because the footprint looks like it was made after the lightning strike.
Right.
And there's also traces of antifreeze in the soil.
Antifreeze.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Well, when they get back to the sheriff's office, Scully, she analyzes the footprint.
Okay.
And it turns out it's from a size 8.5 standard military boot,
Okay.
which, D.P.O. wears because he's an auto mechanic.
Oh, right.
And antifreeze is something you'd find at an auto shop.
So all the evidence is pointing to D.P.O.,
Exactly.
but he can control lightning, so how do you stop him?
Right. It's a tricky situation.
It is.
And
Right.
meanwhile, D.P.O., he's starting to, really abuse his powers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's, messing with the traffic lights.
Fuck.
Yeah, making them change colors randomly.
That's so dangerous.
Right, he could cause, a huge accident.
Yeah.
And Zero, he's, getting worried
That bad?
because he sees how obsessed D.P.O. is with Sharon, and he's scared of what he might do.
Yeah, I would be too.
So Mulder and Scully, they go back to D.P.O.'s house
Okay.
to search his room,
Mm-hmm.
and they find a size 8.5 boot.
Oh, so they got him.
Well, not quite.
What else did they find?
They also find a picture of Sharon,
Okay.
clipped out of a yearbook,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hidden inside a porn magazine.
Oh.
Yeah, not good.
No.
So things take another turn when Sharon's husband, Frank,
Right.
he has a heart attack.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and guess who shows up?
D.P.O.
Yep. And he, uses his powers to restart Frank's heart.
What, like he shocks him back to life?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
So now everyone thinks he's a hero.
Right, except for Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, they know he's dangerous,
Mhm.
and they're trying to figure out how to stop him.
Okay.
So they go to the hospital where D.P.O. was treated after the first lightning strike,
Okay.
and they find out that he was diagnosed with acute hypokalemia.
What?
Hypokalemia, it's like a potassium deficiency. And Mulder, he starts to think that maybe that's somehow connected to his powers.
Interesting.
Maybe the lightning strike messed up his electrolytes or something, and that's what gave him these abilities.
So it's like a weird scientific side effect?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So they try to question D.P.O. again,
Okay.
but he denies everything.
Of course.
And he thinks that Zero ratted him out.
Oh.
Yeah, he's totally paranoid.
Right.
And Mulder and Scully, they're urging Sharon to press charges.
Hmm.
But the sheriff, he doesn't have enough evidence.
Oh, no.
So he lets D.P.O. go.
This is not going to end well.
You're telling me. So what does D.P.O. do?
I'm scared to know.
He goes straight to the arcade
Oh, no.
and he finds Zero.
Yeah.
And he kills him with a bolt of lightning.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
I bet.
So Mulder and Scully, they realize that they made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And they rush to the hospital
Yeah.
to protect Sharon and Frank.
Right.
But when they get there, the power goes out. And they find Zero's body in the elevator.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It is.
So Mulder, he goes after D.P.O.
Okay.
And Scully, she stays with Sharon.
Right.
And sure enough, D.P.O., he finds Sharon.
Oh.
And he's trying to get her to come with him.
Wow.
But Scully, she's there to stop him.
Mhm.
And then the sheriff shows up.
Oh, boy.
And it's total chaos.
What happens?
Well, Sharon, she tries to run away.
Okay.
But D.P.O., he gets really angry.
Right.
And he accidentally strikes the sheriff with lightning.
He kills the sheriff.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And then in a really bizarre twist,
What?
he gets struck by his own lightning.
What?
Yeah. His powers overload or something.
Oh, wow.
And he collapses.
So is he dead?
We don't know for sure.
What do you mean?
Well, the episode ends with him in a psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
And he's watching TV.
Mm.
But then the channels start changing by themselves.
So he still has his powers.
It seems like it, yeah.
Wow, what an ending.
It is, right? So there you have it. The story of D.P.O.
It was pretty wild.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like a classic X-Files episode.
Mhm.
It's got the mystery, the suspense, the weird science.
Yeah, and it's got that 90s vibe.
Right. The arcade, the grunge music.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really cool episode.
It is.
But there's also a lot of really cool stuff that went on behind the scenes.
Oh, right. Like what?
Well, first of all, the episode title, D.P.O., is pretty unique.
How so?
Well, it's just the initials of the main character, Darren Peter Oswald.
Right.
And that's not something they did very often on the X-Files.
Oh, yeah.
Usually the titles are more cryptic or thematic.
Right.
But this one is very, character-focused.
Yeah, it is.
And speaking of Darren Peter Oswald, this was actually Giovanni Ribisi's first major TV role.
Really?
Yeah, he was only like 20 years old when he filmed this.
Oh, he was so young.
Yeah, and he did a phenomenal job.
He did.
Like, he really brought this, like, awkward, creepy intensity to the character. And, of course, he went on to have, like, a huge career.
Yeah, he's been in so many movies.
Oh, I know. Saving Private Ryan, Avatar.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget Friends.
Oh, right. He was Phoebe's brother.
Yeah,
It's so funny to see him, like, way back then.
it is.
And he wasn't the only big name in this episode.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Jack Black played Zero.
What, really?
Yeah, it was one of his earliest TV appearances.
That's so cool.
It is, and he's, like, perfect as Zero.
Yeah,
Like, that kind of, like, slacker metalhead dude.
right.
It's great.
It is.
And it's kind of funny to think about, like, those two guys.
Yeah,
They're both just starting out in Hollywood, and now they're, like, these huge stars.
it's true.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Now, here's something kind of interesting.
Okay.
The original concept for D.P.O. was actually a love story.
A love story
Yeah.
about D.P.O. and Sharon.
Yeah, like, they were going to focus more on his obsession with her, and it was going to be, like, less about the lightning powers, but then they decided to change it up. And I think it was the right call.
Yeah, I mean, the lightning powers are pretty cool.
They are, and it makes it more like, you know, an X-Files episode.
Right.
But it's still fun to think about what that other version would have been like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder. And here's another interesting tidbit.
Okay.
The writers were apparently inspired by real-life stories of lightning strike survivors.
Really?
Yeah, like there are these accounts of people who've been struck by lightning,
Mm-hmm.
and then they start experiencing these weird side effects,
Like what?
like heightened senses or like electrical sensitivities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and some people even claim to have developed like special abilities.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky.
It is.
And it kind of makes you wonder, like,
Yeah.
what if there's something to it?
Sure.
Like, what if lightning can actually do that to people?
That would be pretty amazing.
It would.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about some of the visual stuff.
Okay.
The episode has this really cool, like, 90s aesthetic, like with the video arcade and the grunge music and the diner.
It's very, like, nostalgic.
It is, and it really captures that, like, era of teenage angst.
Right?
And the director, Kim Manners, he really brought that to life.
How so?
Well, he used a lot of, like, slow motion shots
Okay.
and these really dramatic lightning effects.
Mm-hmm.
And he also used a lot of, like, subjective camera angles.
What does that mean?
Like, the camera would be from D.P.O.'s point of view,
Okay.
so you're seeing the world through his eyes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really cool technique.
It is.
And it really makes you feel like you're inside his head.
Right, like you're experiencing his reality.
Exactly.
Cool.
And speaking of the lightning effects,
Yeah.
those were pretty amazing for the time.
Not a bet.
Yeah, they used a combination of practical effects and early CGI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like they had all these like lighting rigs and strobe lights, and then they added in the lightning bolts later.
Okay.
And for the scene where D.P.O. gets struck by lightning, they actually buried this huge lightning machine underground.
What, really?
Yeah, it was this thing that they built specifically for the episode,
Wow.
and it created this like massive burst of light and energy.
That's incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's like a really memorable moment in the episode.
It is.
Another thing that's really cool about this episode is the humor.
Oh, yeah. There's some funny parts.
Yeah, it's not like a comedy episode or anything.
All right.
But it has these moments of like dark humor.
Yeah.
Like when D.P.O. blows up the traffic light,
Yeah.
and Mulder just says like, I think that guy just got lucky.
It's so dry.
I know, and it's so perfect.
It is.
And then there's that scene with the dead cow,
Oh, right.
which is just like this random visual gag.
Yeah. But it's so funny.
I know, and it's become like this iconic image from the episode.
Right.
And it's so X-Files.
It is.
Like it's this perfect blend of like the creepy and the absurd.
Mhm.
Okay, so now let's talk about the ending,
Okay.
which is like super ambiguous.
Right. We don't know for sure if D.P.O. is still alive.
Or if he still has his powers.
Yeah, so they left it open-ended on purpose.
Exactly, and it makes you wonder,
If he comes back
right, like what if he escapes from the hospital?
and starts using his powers again.
Yeah, that would be pretty terrifying.
It would.
But sadly, they never did a sequel episode.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is.
Yeah.
But D.P.O., it really stands on its own
Sure.
as this like unique and memorable episode of the X-Files.
It
Like it's one of the few that focuses on a superpowered human
Right.
rather than like a monster or an alien.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a villain origin story.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask,
What's that?
were there any like Easter eggs in the episode?
Oh yeah, there are actually a few.
Like what?
Well, in the arcade scene, D.P.O.'s high score name on Virtua Fighter 2 is Lightning Boy.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, it's like a little nod to his powers.
Oh, I like that.
And then there's his name, Darren Peter Oswald. Some people think that Darren is a reference to Baron Morgan.
Who's that?
He's a writer who worked on the X-Files.
Okay.
And he wrote some of the most, like, funny and quirky episodes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like Humbug and Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose.
Okay.
And then Oswald could be a reference to Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the guy who assassinated JFK.
Right.
So it's like a subtle hint at D.P.O.'s, like, potential for violence.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, hidden meaning in this episode.
There is.
Okay, so before we wrap up,
yeah,
I want to share some fun facts from the production.
Oh, cool.
Did you know that Giovanni Ribisi had to audition twice for the role of D.P.O.?
Really?
Yeah. Chris Carter, the creator of The X-Files, he wasn't sure about him at first.
Oh, wow.
But the casting director, she really fought for him.
Good for her.
I know, and it obviously paid off.
It did.
And the sheriff's name, Teller?
Yeah.
That's actually a tribute to Teller from Penn and Teller.
Really?
Yeah, apparently they were big fans of The X-Files. And they wanted to be on the show, but their schedules didn't work out.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is.
Okay.
But they got a shout out in the episode.
That's good.
And the Astadorian Lightning Observatory.
Right.
That was named after Chris Carter's assistant, Mary Astadorian.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's like a little thank you to her.
Yeah.
And remember that scene with the dead cow?
Yeah.
Well, it was actually really hard to get a real dead cow for that scene.
Really?
Yeah, like they had trouble getting permission and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And the first fake cow they made didn't look realistic enough, so they finally had to contact a slaughterhouse.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a little morbid.
It is.
And one last thing.
Okay.
The director, Kim Manners,
yeah,
he was going through a really tough time while filming this episode.
Oh, no. What happened?
His best friend had just passed away.
Oh, that's awful.
It is, and you know, it was a really difficult time for him.
Yeah.
But he was determined to finish the episode.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a true professional.
He was.
So yeah, D.P.O, it's a really special episode of The X-Files.
It is.
Like, it's got everything that makes the show great. The mystery, the suspense, the humor, the weird science.
The characters.
Yeah, and it's all wrapped up in this, like, really cool 90s aesthetic.
Right.
It's an episode that's really stayed with me.
Me too.
And I think it's one that will stay with viewers for a long time.
I think so too.
So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's worth a watch.
It is.
And I think it makes you think.
About what?
Like, what if you suddenly had these powers?
Right.
Like, what would you do with them?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
It's a question that D.P.O really forces you to confront.
It does.
And there's no easy answer.
No, there isn't.
And I think that's what makes it so compelling.
Yeah, it is.
So that's it for our deep dive into D.P.O.
Thanks for taking me back.
Of course. Until next time.
See ya.
Keep on seeking the truth that's out there.